Hello friends, welcome to Banker Zone. In this session, we will learn the fundamentals of HRM. Now see the introduction part. Success of organizations increasingly depends on the knowledge, skill and the ability embedded in an organization's member. Right? Means what simply, whatever the knowledge, skill and the ability are having in the organization's member means what? Like the staff member. If the staff of the organization, employee of the organization, if they are having knowledge, skill and ability, we can say organization will get the success. Now BRIC stands for simply the BRICS. So it is the B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India and C for China. So these are the BRICS country, right? So they will dominate the world economy, right? As per the, it is expected that in the upcoming time the BRICS country will dominate the world economy. So it is Brazil, Russia, China and India. Now by 2040 it is expected that India will have the GDP after China. So we will be the second largest GDP country in the world, right? By 2040. So we will be having by 2040 second largest GDP holder country. Now by 2030 it is expected that the average young age of the Indian will be 31.2. So it will create the demographic dividend for the India, right? So average age, so we will have more younger people, so more work they will do and obviously we will have the more GDP. So what is it resulted into? See, this demographic shift has sparked and renewed the interest in the HR practices and strategy in India. See, we are having lot of young generation. By 2030 we will have the average age will be 31.2. So HR have to be change their own practices and the strategy, right? So this demographic change due to the young generation coming into the job market, right? So HR practices and the strategy need to be changed in India, right? Okay, now see management theory from the ancient day. So early management book, Arthashastra, you are very much familiar, right? Arthashastra is the early management book written by the Kautilya, discussed the essential management principle and the human resource practices, right? So very important, right? Arthashastra written by the Kautilya is having the management principle and the HRP, human resource practices. Apart from that, with increased trade with the Roman, it led to the systematic governance method, right? So when there is a trade with the Romans, right? So systemic governance methods came into picture. With respect to the Gupta dynasty, when the Gupta dynasty basically promoted the managerial rule and the regulations. Apart from that, the various empire and along with the rise of Islam mainly, it shaped further the trade and the management. With respect to the British colonial system also introduced the effective corporate organization and the civil services practices. Apart from that, Indian management, whatever today we are learning, it is shaped by the Vedantic philosophy, right? So which emphasizes on the self transformation and how to cope with the daily reality, how to deal with the daily problems, right? We learn it from the Vedantic philosophy. Now the Chester Bernard's theory view organization as a social system. For exam point of view, it is important statement, right? So as per the Chester Bernard, organization is nothing but the social system. We should focus on the cooperation among the team member to achieve the goals, right? Okay, now see through the picture you will get easily. So in ancient day, Arthashastra written by the Kautilya, it gives us the essential management principle, right? Also the human resource practices. Okay, next, when increased trade with Roman, it led to the systematic governance method. Next, rise of Islam further shaped the trade management. Then the Gupta dynasty also promoted the manager rules and the regulation. Then the British colonial system also introduced the effective corporate organization and also they have given the civil services practices. Now with respect to the Vedantic philosophy, it emphasizes on the self transformation and also it tells us how to deal with the daily reality, how to cope with the daily reality. So friends, the Bernard Chester's theory suggests that the organizations are nothing but these are the social system should focus on the cooperation to achieve the goal. Okay, now see liberalization and after. See, once the liberalization started in India, right, in 1991, the LPG reform happens, right? So traditional HR practices in India were mainly influenced by the religion and the caste system, right? So in India, we are having the reservation, which is aimed to help the less privileged group so that they can upbring, right? So how we can lift them up. So that is the purpose of reservation. Now due to the globalization, again the focus is only shifting to the competence and the merit, right? So after the globalization, the shift it shifted the focus to the competency and the merit. What is competency? Means who is having more skill, more knowledge will be the competent. Now with that response, how the HRM dealt, right? So contemporary response to the HRM. So an ancient survey indicates that a recent survey indicates that Indian CEO rely on less personal charisma and focus on the more logical and step-by-step implementation of the process. So Indian CEO are very smart. They know there is no any personal charisma. We should focus on logical and step-by-step implementation. So Indian leader prioritizes the empowerment and the accountability. Okay, now see, we will move to the actual part of syllabus, that is the fundamental of HRM. So what do you mean by HRM concept and policy practices? See, HRM means human resource management, basically evolved over the last 150 years, beginning with the industrial revolution. Very important. When the HRM started, basically it started with the industrial revolution. So it is all about the people in the management, means how we will manage the people, right? That is people in the management. It is nothing but the HRM in the beginning or 150 years ago. So organizations like any business, school or government, they obviously depend on their people, right? They rely on their people. So if you take any organization, whether it is a business or non-business, they have to take the help of people. Without people, they cannot run the organization, right? Next is the core element of HRM. What are the core element of HRM? See, it is indicating, name it is it's a human resource management. So two are here itself. Humans means people. M means management. So two are here, right? And what are the rest two? The behavioral dynamics and the uniformity. So let's see first people. People means simply the staff who manages the organization, right? So people component, people element is simply the staff. Next is the management. So applying management principle for it can be the recruitment, that is acquiring, developing, maintaining and remunerating, means providing training, right, and providing salary, right? For that purpose, we have to apply the management principle. That is what the part of management. Next is the behavioral dynamics. So how the employee behave at work, right? So decision with respect to the people must be integrated and consistent, right? This is all about the behavioral dynamics. And lastly, we have the uniformity. So HRM principle are applicable to all the businesses and non-businesses organization, means for every organization we can apply it, whether it is doing business or not doing business. For example, like education, health, etc. Means there must be the uniformity of application of the HRM principle. So these are the four core elements, right? Just see the three image, you will get the clarity. What are the core element of the human resource management? First, the P for people, right? HR means human resource. So if H for human, so P for people. M means management. So second is management. Third is behavioral and dynamics and uniformity, right? People means simply the people working in the organization. Management means management have to apply the scientific principle for recruitment, development, maintenance or remuneration. Behavioral dynamics like motivation, teamwork, consistent decisions should be taken at a workplace with respect to the people. And uniformity refer to the whether you are having the organization like business or non-business, for all you have to apply the universal or the same HRM principles. Okay. Now next is the objective of HRM. What is objective of HRM? See, we are having four objectives of HRM. One is societal objective, second is the organizational objective, third is the functional objective and the personal objective. Now see first the social objective. Social objective means very simple. As an organization, HRM says that we should uphold the ethical and the social responsibility to address the societal need. Means what society actually needs, that we have to consider. We should not only focus on the profit, we should focus on the societal needs also. However, it should not create any negative impact on the organization. That is the societal objective. Second is the organizational objective. So use of a human resource management in enhancing the organizational effectiveness and the achieving goal. That is what simply the organizational objective. Use the HRM to enhance the efficiency of the organization. Next, functional objective. What is it? Simply, it ensures the HR department operate fully with the full efficiency, that is efficiently, to support the goal of organization. So functional objective means HR department should function with the highest efficiency. And personal objective means what? Support the employee in realizing their personal goal to boost their contribution to the organization, focusing on the development, retention and the motivation. So with respect to the personal objective, we should focus on the employee's personal goal also, like giving them promotion. They should work. So we should care about the employee. That is what personal objective of employee, right? Very simple. So these are the four objectives, very simple. We are having first is the societal objective, next is the organizational objective, the functional objective and the personal objective. Okay. Next is the contemporary response to the HRM. What HRM actually play a role? See, HRM play a very important, the crucial role in the organization. It have the multiple objective, right? First, say the advisory role played by the HRM. What is the advisory role? Very simple. See, HRM basically guide to the management on the people related issue. They also create the policy on the organization structure, employment term, compensation and the training. So in the advisory role, what they are doing in advisory role, they are basically guiding to management with respect to the people, and they are creating the policy on structure, employment, recruitment, etc. With respect to the functional role, what HRM is doing with respect to the functional role, HR interpret and communicate the HR policy. They support manager for the implementation and they guide to the departments. Right? So communication, support and the guide, these role done by the HRM in the functional role. Next is what? Simply the service role. Service means providing service to the employee, like providing essential information to the employee on different HR matter, especially during the organizational changes. It helps to stay updated. These are the service role. Service role means providing the necessary information to the employee. This is service role of HR. Next is the specialist role. So what is specialist? See, currently the HR field is currently growing very fast, right? So in HR also we are having different work like recruitment, compensation, the termination. These are the different work, right? So there can be the person who will be a specialist in recruitment, who can be the specialist in compensation. So specialists are basically in various area are getting rise, right? So there is emergence of the specialist into the various area. This is what the specialist role. So this is all about the HRM play a crucial role, right? Okay, first is what's very simple. See, and the advisory role. Second is the functional role. Then we have the service role and the specialist role. Okay, now managerial function of HRM. So we have already learned about the function of HRM, right? In the ABM, it is the first chapter itself. So what do we have? The planning. In ABFM, we are having that. A planning, organizing, staffing, directing and the controlling. We often call it as a POSDC, right? So these are the functions of HRM, right? Planning, organizing, staffing, directing and the controlling. How to remember? POS, right? POS. So POSDC. In that way, you can remember. Now, what is the planning? So planning is very simple. HR will estimate the future manpower requirement, right? Also formulate the policy and set the future goal, right? This is all about the part of planning. Now with respect to the organizing, HR basically divides the big task into the small task and among the team member, and they will have proper authority so that it will get completed within time, right? So this is what about the organizing. Organizing means divide the big task into small task and allocate it with the proper authority. Next, staffing. Staffing means very simple. They are dealing with the staff like recruitment, selection, training and development, compensation and appraisal. These are all part of staffing. So one thing you remember, in staffing there must be the one thing that actually HR should do, right? When they are doing the recruitment, at that time they have to find fit for the job, right? They should not select only the qualification, the highest qualified candidate. They should choose the candidate which will fit for the job. Next, directing. Directing means what? Lead and motivate the staff means what? Directing. So HR should lead and direct and motivate the staff while implementing the policy to guide organizational activity at the best result, right? So directing means simply leading and motivating the staff. Next is the controlling. So what is controlling? Controlling is simply HR will monitor the performance, right? And if you are not performing, then HR can take the necessary action like more training if required or transfer or termination. So these are the part of controlling. So what are the 5 managerial functions we are having? Function of management or managerial function of HRM, the planning, organizing, staffing, directing and the controlling. Okay. Next is, see, through image you will get the further clarity. See, 5 function of management. First they will do the planning. Planning means what? Estimate what manpower you are required, right? Next what? The organizing. Organizing means basically you are creating the structure, right? So you will divide the task and duty among team member, and you will establish proper authority to get done work. Next we are having the staffing. Staffing means simply you manage the talent, right? So starting from hiring till the training, etc., etc. Next, directing. Directing means what? You will guide the staff. Direct means you will guide, you will motivate so that the employee will get motivated and they will work for the better for the organization, right? These are the part of directing. Now controlling means simply you will evaluate the performance. That is what is controlling, right? So performance evaluation and taking corrective action. These are the part of controlling. So very simple, right? Planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. Okay. Now, what are the operational function of HRM? See, we have the procurement, development, compensation, integration, and the maintenance. These are the main operational function of HRM, right? So what do you mean by procurement means get something, right? Getting something. So HR planning, recruitment and selection, induction, and the placement. These are the part of procurement. Procurement is getting something. So they will plan for the hiring, they will recruit, they will select the employee, they will conduct induction and the placement. Placement means doing posting. Next is the development. Development means simply again the same, providing training to the staff, the skill development programs, the career planning program, then mentoring, counseling. These are the part of development function of HRM. Next, what we have the compensation. So with respect to the compensation, like a wage and salary determination, administration of it, it is part of compensation. Next is the integration. Integration means simply integration of a human resource and its value within the organization, right? It is very, very important. Integration means what? We have to integrate as an HR the human resources and its value in the organization. Next is what? Simply the maintenance. Maintenance means what? Improving the working condition of the employee, motivating them, right? And communicating them. It is what the part of the maintenance, right? What is maintenance? Improving working condition, motivation to the employee, then and communication. This is part of the maintenance. Next, also it also includes, see, there are some more function of the HRM like retention. Retention means what? See, we should try that employee should not leave the organization. That is a part of retention. If employee leaves it, then there should be the minimal impact by resignation, termination, layoff, or the death of the employee. Next is the counseling or the advisory role. So in the counseling or the advisory role, HR provide an expert advice or the counseling to the employee with respect to the change. What is change management means? Something change, big change has been implemented in the organization, like a bank merger, etc. So HR is also called as the to manage the change. HR will act as the agent of the management to implement the changes. This is called the change management. Like a system upgradation, like bank merger. These are the big change management. Okay. So friends, here we will stop. We have the Android application. Bankers Zone CAIIB is the name of application. You can download it. You can simply search Bankers Zone CAIIB at the Play Store to get our app. You can subscribe us on the YouTube. Also, if you need any help, you can reach us on WhatsApp 905-453-8247. You can enroll in our full courses simply getting the application. Thank you.